Hello, everybody, and welcome this afternoon to the Bullring, presented by our friends at DoorDash. I'm Alan Dietz, joined as always by Jess Ballard. Going to have a big show today.
As always.
Guests. Yeah, a lot of good guests. We're going to have Justin Bond, Senor, joining us, as well as Caden Anderson, Dylan Fetcho, Ryan Coon, and Matt Weaver will check in to talk about the Cup Series and get us ready for some home cooking this weekend here in Charlotte.
That's right, and it's a cutoff race.
It is a cutoff race, and there's a lot of drivers that are going to need to try and get in victory lane this weekend if they want to go on to the next round of the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Coming off a great weekend here on Racing America, we had races all over the country, literally all the way out to the Northwest where they wrapped their season up and got to see a lot of good racing this past weekend.
Coast to coast.
Yes, and we want to remind you, as if you needed reminding anyway, the season's wrapping up.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get these opportunities, get out to these short tracks, support them, and if you can't, we would love for you to watch with us here on RacingAmerica.tv. But the most important thing is to go and watch in person. And if anything, you go to your local track and it's a Racing America partner. You take your iPhone, take your earbuds, and, it's a little delayed supplement to what you're watching.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, you can hear me talk about something that happened 2 laps before in person, but because there is a slight delay,
But everyone wants to know what you have to say.
Yeah. That's
I don't know. The service is always a little iffy at those tracks.
Yeah. It's at the tracks, believe me. Well, you want to go over some highlights?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here are the highlights from this past weekend's action here on Racing America. Lee USA Speedway up in New Hampshire had their big Oktoberfest this past weekend. On Friday, Steve Miller was the winner in 6 shooters, not the singer, which she'll never get.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Dave Cameron was the winner in Ridge Runners on Saturday. And the NHSTRA Modifieds raced on Sunday at Lee. Brian Roby was the winner there. Great weekend for Russ Conway's Oktoberfest at Lee. Glad we were able to be a part of it. On Saturday, another thing that I'm really glad that we were able to be a part of, championship night at Huntsville Speedway in Alabama. They reached out to us, said, hey, we'd love for you to come in. You haven't broadcast the race here in a while. Jason Loveday was the winner in Pro Late Models, and we like that. We want tracks to do that.
It's always fun to see tracks that we're not used to seeing on TV, so that was a good surprise.
Yep. Montgomery Motor Speedway, another Show Me the Money race, and we talked about it last week, that once you finally knock that first one off, it gets a lot easier, it seems like. Giovanni Ruggiero, perfect example.
That's right. And I'm not sure. Sometimes I think being on the Bullring gives you some luck for your next race.
Well, we'll go with that because we definitely want people to be on the Bullring. And speaking of out west, Tri-City Speedway out in Washington State had their big fall classic. Hayden Plybon, the winner on Saturday for the Pro Late Models, and Donnie Wannett was the winner on Sunday for the Northwest Super Late Models. Caden Anderson took the championship there. And, if you didn't get to watch those races out west, I encourage you to go back, watch on demand on RacingAmerica.tv. They had huge car counts, not just with the Pro Late Models and the Super Late Models, full stands. I mean, they're doing a great job out there, and that'd be another good one to go back if you didn't get a chance to watch it. But you can watch any of these and more on demand if you go to RacingAmerica.tv.
Yeah, I love going back and watching old races, or sometimes Travis will watch them for like film.
Yep.
I don't know. That's a great feature.
Yep. I think a lot of drivers do that a lot more than we might realize. And if you have selected streaming devices, you can go and watch the Racing America 24/7 channel.
24/7.
24/7. It's a network channel, and that's the way that the layout is. So you can get to see a lot of the great programming that we have here on Racing America, including some exclusives. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk to 3-time NASCAR Wheeling Modified Tour champion Justin Bond, Senor, as he gets ready for the World Series this weekend at Thompson. Well, our first guest here on the Bullring this afternoon, they called Lucky Dog because he was the winner of the most recent race for the NASCAR Wheeling Modified Tour. That's Justin Senor. And Justin, thanks for joining us today. I don't know, this might be the first time you've been on the show this year.
Yeah, I think it might be. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess you aren't winning.
Up with that.
Yeah, you got to win more races.
All right, that's the deal. All right, well, we'll try pretty hard these last couple.
All right. Well, Riverhead, I mean, that was a place that was not necessarily a track that you performed the best at one time, but boy, you sure have got to where you can handle that place now, it seems like.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, grew up racing there weekly. Didn't have the most success as a weekly driver, and then as we progressed onto the tour, we started to run really good there, and had some ups and downs. There was years we'd win. It seemed like every year we showed up, and then there was times where we were taking provisionals. But since 2018, when Ryan Stone joined the team as crew chief, we've had a really good run there. We won 4 straight at one point, and they did some things on the track. They paved it. They used PJ1. They did a lot of things, and it kind of was taking us a little bit to get back to where we wanted to be. 2021 and part of 2022 has kind of had us spun out a bit, and we've hit on something that worked really well there last month, and they added the pit stops and everything that went into that race, and it just worked out really well for us. We had a really good car all day, and even with the pit stop in a different format, we were still able to get back to victory lane.
Well, that win at Riverhead is certainly going to give you some momentum going into the last 2 races of the tour. And I believe if you can make it happen, this would be your 4th NASCAR Wheeling Modified Tour Championship. Is that correct?
Yeah, 4th it could possibly be, but a long way to go before we can get to that.
Well, tell us, what are your thoughts on Thompson and Martinsville coming up?
Yeah, really excited. I think Thompson's going to be a really good race in general, but amongst John, Ron, and I, we both ran really well there in August at the last tour race. We've got a little bit of momentum since then, and I think we've figured some things out with our setups that are working a little better recently. So I'm hoping that we can take a step forward, but they're obviously working just as hard to try and better their programs as well. So I think it's going to be a really good weekend. The World Series weekend is always one of the best weekends of the year in New England modified racing, and to cap it off Sunday with the tours, going to be exciting, and we're looking forward to it. And then to finish things out in Martinsville for the championship, it should be really, really exciting for the fans.
As Justin mentioned, the World Series coming up this weekend at Thompson. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we'll have coverage for you here on Racing America. You'll be able to find the NASCAR Wheeling Modified Tour race Sunday on Flow. Looking at this points battle between 3 drivers, 3 points separating you guys. I mean, you've been in a lot of these championship battles. In a way, when it's this close, does it make it a little bit easier because you pretty much know you got to go out there and outrun those guys, and you're not, counting points, trying to figure out how far somebody is in front of you?
Yeah, at this point, it's honestly heads up each of these weeks. So we'll see how things play out after Thompson and what it's going to look like going into Martinsville. But I would assume, the as good as all 3 teams are, we could come out of this weekend basically in a very similar points battle. So the way we're looking at it is it's going to be heads up. Whoever beats whoever can lead the most laps and finish in front of each other at the next 2 is probably going to be the champion. So it's definitely something different. We've been on the losing end in years past to Doug Kobe when he was on his stretch of close points battles. We kind of had some breathing room throughout our 3 championship battles where we won the last couple of years. But honestly, our aspect right now is we're just, basically playing with free money. We were so far out of it at the beginning of the year. We weren't expected to get back in it. There's really no pressure on our team. We've kind of already feel we've outperformed where the season started. So if we can pull this off, it would be awesome, but no pressure on our end, just try and go out and have good solid days and let everything fall where it may.
Now, are you just going to run the tour race this weekend, or are you going to try to run any of the other races?
No, just a tour. I haven't driven any other races besides one weekly show at Riverhead for a different team this year. Just been focusing on the tour and my new business that we've been started up. So been busy with a lot of other things and haven't had time to really line up any other rides. So with everything going on this weekend, try and keep my focus on the tour, just like I'm sure John and Ronnie are. Try not to, get yourself trying to dial in 2 or 3 different types of race cars over the weekend. It's just easier to concentrate on one thing, keep the team focused, keep everybody with the goal in mind.
Well, it's good seeing you again, man. Congratulations on the year and fighting your way back into this points battle. And we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you being on, and I'll just have to try and win some more races so I can talk to my buddy Alan a little more.
All right. Well, it's a deal. Justin Von Senor, again, you'll be able to see him as part of the World Series at Thompson this weekend, and we'll have coverage for you here Friday through Sunday as well on Racing America. Well, this past weekend, it was the Northwest Super Late Model Series, and Caden Anderson took the championship. He's going to join us when we return. Glad to have you back here with us on the Bullring, presented by our friends at DoorDash. I am Alan Dietz. She is Jess Ballard, and of course, we've been very glad this year to have the Northwest Super Late Model Series here on Racing America. Mm-hmm. They just wrapped up their season this past weekend, and joining us now is the newly crowned champion, Caden Anderson. Caden, first off, congratulations and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It's an honor to be on here.
Well, before we get too deep into the season, let's look back at this past weekend at Tri-City. It sounds like, again, they had a huge crowd. I know the car count was big. How was the weekend from your perspective?
Yeah, it was a long weekend. We had practice on Thursday. Friday I had practice again. Saturday was an off day for the super lates, and then we qualified and raced on Sunday. So it was a pretty long weekend, and overall, I feel like it was a great weekend. There was a lot of cars, a lot of people, a lot of fans. It was overall a great show.
I believe I read somewhere that this was the closest championship finish in series history, and you took that crown over Hayden Plybon. So, was it? What do you think makes the racing so great in this series that it comes down to that close of a championship battle at the end of the year?
Yeah, I think with here in the Northwest, there's a lot of great drivers with a lot of talent, a lot of speed. And so racing against someone like Hayden Plybon, he's had a ton of speed all year, and he qualifies really well, and just a lot of great talent in the series.
Well, I agree with you. And, my favorite thing about the Northwest Super Late Model Series this year has been learning about more drivers than just a couple that we knew about, and learning about these new racetracks. I mean, I don't think you could have a group of racetracks that's more different than the ones you guys follow in the Northwest.
Yeah, we have quite a few different tracks. We have a half-mile tri-oval. We have a few short track quarter miles that are low grip and high grip, and then we have a few 3/8 miles that have a lot of grip and low grip. So it's a wide variety of tracks over here.
Caden, speaking of learning about drivers that we may not have known about, for the folks at home that you're new to them, you're from Washington, is that correct?
That is correct.
Tell us a little bit more about your crew that you go to the racetrack with every week and your operation.
Yeah, we are a small team, and we don't have a whole bunch of crew. There's about 3 or 4 of us that come each week, and we put in a lot of work during the weeks, and we go to the racetrack with a 36-foot or 30-foot trailer and a low budget team, and we just try everything we can to succeed.
What do you think the series has done that's created the parity where you can have a small team like yours, but go out there and compete against some bigger teams that have more resources?
Yeah, the whole deal with Racing America, the Northwest Super Late Model Series, has really put all of us drivers on a huge platform to get our names out there and in front of people that are wanting to advertise our businesses and stuff like that. So it's been huge, and I picked up a few sponsorships along the way due to Racing America being out here. So it's been great for, I think, everyone.
Well, that's great. And I think it was last year, and I first talked to Lacey Walden, and it was actually about doing this race, and she was interested, and we were able to do it. And then, talk to Dan and all the folks with the Northwest Super Late Model Series, and I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that you were able to get some value out of it. So obviously, you guys, your season is short. It starts relatively late and ends, late September, early October. Any other racing plans this year, or where do you go from where we're at right now headed into 23?
Yeah, as of now, like our season got cut short. Obviously, we already have a short season from April to October. But we had a few rain delays and some tracks cancel out, so it is really a short season this year. But as of now, we are in the rebuild season, so we're gonna tear the car down, get it all completely redone and repolished and ready to go for next year, and hopefully we can add a few more races on next year.
Well, Caden, congratulations. You got a really sharp looking car. You guys should be proud of your accomplishments this year, and we look forward to seeing all you guys again in 2023.
Thank you.
All right, that's Caden Anderson winning that championship, and as I was saying, I mean, I've really enjoyed getting to see, some racetracks and drivers that we've not seen in the past necessarily.
Yeah, it's been super fun, and it's a series that, like we heard, the small, family-owned teams are still winning championships and competitive, and I think when you have that situation, it always puts on a good show.
Well, Dylan Fetcho has had a good start and finish to the 2022 season. We're going to talk to him after his championship at Five Flags. Glad you could be here with us this afternoon on the Bullring presented by DoorDash. Joining us now, the Allen Turner Pro Late Model Champion for 2022 at Five Flags Speedway. That is Dylan Fetcho. Congratulations on the championship. Want to talk to you about Nashville first, or a little bit later on, but this has been a heck of a season for you. You start out with the win there at the Rattler. You end it here with the championship at Five Flags. I mean, I can imagine you guys couldn't be more pleased with where you are.
Yeah, it's been good so far. Hopefully we can get some more wins. We've got 3 wins this year, which is good. It's not bad for sure. So, and getting that championship was big for sure. Gives us momentum going into the Flake, the Derby, and so hopefully we can close out Nashville on the same page and get another championship there.
Okay, I'm going to expose myself here, Alan. When we do when we do company meetings, I'm always looking at people's background when we do Zoom calls. And
my notes.
And yeah, and so Dylan, when you first called, you're covering them up right now, but I saw in the background a bunch of guitars back there. Those are awesome. I'm assuming those all came from the fairgrounds, Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Nashville is a track that I am always tuning in to the weekly show. I think it's such great racing. It's very entertaining, and you're going for that championship as well. What's it been like? I mean, is it only 2 championships you're going for? I feel like you're all over the place.
Yeah, it's just those 2. Yeah, we enjoy traveling. It's a lot of fun. So I'm sure next year we'll try to travel some more. And this year we're actually going to try to run Montgomery's last race. So that'll be the first time we've been there this year. And yeah, like I said, we just enjoy traveling and running different tracks and learning new places.
And Nashville only has 1 race left,
right? Before All-American weekend.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, and that's actually this weekend you'll be able to watch here on Racing America, the pro late models going for 100 laps, plus the other local divisions at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. And since Dylan mentioned it, also will be covering that final Show Me the Money race at Montgomery. So inevitably, we're at that time of year where people are going to ask. You've had a lot of success in the pro late models. Is there a super late model in your future?
It's in the works to run the 400. Other than that, nothing else is planned. So hopefully we can at least get to run that race this year, and then hopefully that leads to more stuff next year.
So let's move on to the Snowflake. That's coming up. I saw that you were on the official entry list. What are your expectations going into that race for 2022?
Yeah, they're pretty high since we ran there all year and ended up with the championship and a few podiums. We didn't get a win, unfortunately, but that'd be nice to go down there and win that last one for sure.
You've ran in a lot of All-American 100s, I guess you could say, for the pro late models. When you go there and you race regularly at Nashville, how does that race differ from the weekly shows? Because I ask because you guys have such big car counts for the weekly shows.
Yeah, they pull a lot of cars for all the races down there. The 400, they'll probably get 10 to 15 more at least. So, yeah, it'll be a big event, and going into that race, the last one's a points race also. So it'll be a big weekend for us.
I don't think we've had a chance to talk to you either since that great race between you and Hunter Wright a few weeks ago. We're at a place now when we see drivers your age, and a lot of times when they get a chance, if they can lay that bumper on somebody, they take them out. But you guys raced hard and raced clean.
Oh yeah, for sure. Me and Hunter grew up racing together since we were 4 or 5 years old, so it would be tough to race him harder than I did, and I like racing people with respect, and that's usually how you get it back. So it was a good race, and I'm proud of him for everything he's accomplished also.
Well, you guys are doing a great job. We've enjoyed watching you here over the last several years on Racing America. Good luck this weekend, and good luck on the rest of the season.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, that's Dylan Fetcho, and we talked about it. We'll have all complete coverage for you. The All-American 400, Show Me the Money finale at Montgomery, and, of course, the Snowball Derby and the Snowflake and everything that goes on there. So a lot to look forward to here in the coming weeks.
Oh yeah, we've been in big race season, but it's really ramping up.
Yep, really ramping up now. Well, when we come back, speaking of ramping up, we're going to talk to Matt Weaver as the chase for the NASCAR Cup Series goes into another phase. The final round of 12 as 4 more drivers will be eliminated. We're going to talk to Matt Weaver when we come back. Welcome back to the Bullring presented by DoorDash. Alan and Jess here with you this afternoon, being joined now by Matt Weaver, the Racing America editor-in-chief, and time to go windshield deep with him. Matt, first off, glad to have you back on the show this week. A lot of talk about safety in the Cup Series, and I do want to go back to that, but do you think that had anything to do with not having a big one at Talladega this past weekend, or do you think that's just, it seems like once every 2 or 3 years we have one that's relatively clean at Talladega?
No, I think it comes down to the new car. I asked several drivers about it after the race, William Byron, Denny Hamlin, and they said, and even Corey LaJoie tweeted about it after the race. This car is so aerodynamically efficient, the way it cuts through the air, that the cars that are in about the first 3 or 4 rows are just so stable, and they're so They make so much more grip, and they cut through the air so well that really it becomes a two-groove racetrack. Anytime that you tried to go three wide, and we saw it throughout the race, there was a third line that typically forms that they tried to form again, and it just didn't work out because the first and second rows were just so much faster, so much more efficient through the air that you just basically got blown away on the outside if you tried to do that. So yeah, drivers did bail. You would see things get a little chaotic and crazy, and somebody would choose to fall to the back and things would calm down. So I think it's a little bit of everything, but really we saw it in the spring race here too. There wasn't a ton of carnage. You just can't race three wide at Talladega right now with this car, and you get the race you got.
Well, looking forward to this coming weekend, it's a home game for most of the teams. It's a cutoff race. Any predictions? What do you think is going to happen?
It's hard because this is the first time we've seen this car at the Roval. And I think with the old car, it made a lot less grip, a lot less downforce. And, you drove it hard into the corner to try to make something happen. And that's why we saw the sort of chaos that we've seen. This car makes so much more, corner grip. It makes so much more speed into a corner that we've seen it at Martinsville. You really can't, drive in deeper and force something to happen the way that you used to. So I think it could make for a calmer, more track position based Roval race. But we've seen some of the races at Circuit of the Americas. That finish was wild. The racing was really hard nosed at the Indianapolis road course as well, and that's kind of the barometer that I've set. Listen, it's going to be a track position race because it always is, but I'm curious to see if you can make positions the hard way by moving people out of the way.
So after the problems at Texas, Chase Elliott bounces back with the win at Talladega, which moves him on to the next round. Let's talk about Ryan Blaney, though. Are you as surprised as I am that he's been as strong, having now his crew chief and some of his key people suspended for that loose tire at Bristol?
I don't put a lot of stock into crew chief suspensions anyway, because technology is clearly, look at me, look at you. Like it's so good that you can communicate with people anywhere. So I'm not surprised. What I'm more surprised about is that their pit stops were still really strong, and they brought the 21 team, their over the wall pit crew guys in to kind of service the team with some of those guys that were out. Their pit stops were really strong at Talladega. What's going to be really interesting to me is that they haven't won a race yet.
Yeah.
And I wrote about this, earlier in the week or last week on Racing America. And, we've always been kind of waiting to see if you could win the championship without winning a race. And keep in mind, Ryan Blaney was second in points pretty much all year. This is a really good team, but there's been so much parity with this new car. Everyone's so equal that it's really hard to rack up multiple wins. And even if you are a winning team, you're only going to get one. So, I wonder, is this going to be the year that two things? One, are you a champion without a win? And do you have to win that final race to win the championship? Because I wouldn't be surprised to see a non-Final Four team go out to Phoenix, win the race, and kind of steal the thunder away from the Final Four.
Yeah, and don't forget the first round, all three of those races were won by drivers that were not in the Drivers' Championship, so you could go to Phoenix, and especially once it's narrowed down to four, have that same scenario. Looking at the short tracks, of course, we have talked about the big races coming up, Winchester, Nashville, the Snowball Derby. Speculation out there that we could be on the verge of an announcement about a national series here in the coming weeks for super late models. For you, what is the biggest question? If and when that announcement is made, what is the first thing for you that comes to mind?
I mean, listen, we'll break some news here. We're kind of beating around the bush. I mean, it was in the drivers meeting in Pensacola, so we know it's coming. It's just a matter of what form it's going to take, right? So to me, it comes down to we do so much talking about money and purses. And listen, purses do matter. And I would like to see a national tour, or at least a super regional tour, have a purse that reflect it. Southern Super Series has done a great job this year of having a minimum 10 grand to win and a bonus program to kind of grow those from 13, 14, 1500 to win. That's good. That's cool. But for me, I think the biggest deal is going to be the marketing opportunities platform. You look at like the World of Outlaws, right? And the ways in which that organization allows their teams to market their partners, to sell merchandise, to connect with fans. And really that's what it comes down to, right? Racing America and the platform that we have here to be able to showcase those stories and those personalities, that's all part of it. So I don't have one thing that I'm looking for to be the answer for this national super regional tour, but really it's all of it. Purses have to be better. We have to be able to service partners and sponsors, and the racing has to be really good. And for the most part, the racing is great. It's just a matter of telling that story to a broader audience. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what some of those minutia, what form that takes on once this is announced.
Yeah, well, I think the key that you mentioned is organization, and I think if it's organized correctly, it could be more than just around purses. Matt, thanks for joining us again. Thanks for all the insight, and we look forward to talking to you again next week.
Yes, sir. Talk to you guys later.
All right, that's Matt Weaver. When we come back, we're going to talk to Ryan Coon as he tries for a past Super Late Model Championship. Joining us now, a young driver who is possibly on the verge of his first ever past Super Late Model Championship. That is Ryan Coon. It's been a great year, Ryan. I appreciate you joining us here on the show. Coming off of a win at Thunder Road on Milk Bowl weekend. What's it like driving a Super Late Model around that place?
Man, it's one cool racetrack, I've said it since day one. Those cars are extremely fast around that place. It's fresh pavement, and that track's absolutely beautiful. And I saw the super mods there. I'm like, holy cow, them things are flying 9-second lap times, and I'm surprised. And we're doing 11 lap times, and they're 2 seconds faster than we are. I'm like, man, I couldn't imagine.
Okay, that's a really good looking hat. Are those for sale? Can fans purchase those?
Not yet, not at the moment, but we're gonna
stay tuned, everyone.
Hopefully we'll put them up soon. Me and my girlfriend are gonna see if we can make some more. She's got her own printer stuff, so hopefully we can start making them.
That sounds awesome. Like your deal.
Yeah, if you put the girlfriend in charge, that's how things get done.
Yeah.
I know. Yes, you guys are so busy holding the steering wheel. We take over the important stuff.
And run out of money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, as Alan said before we went live, you're currently in the lead for the championship. And if I'm not mistaken, this would be your first championship. Tell me, you got 3 races left, I believe. Tell me how you're feeling.
I'm feeling good. Thunder Road was a huge confidence booster for us. And, going to Thompson's been a really good racetrack to us. The only unknown I have right now is Oxford. We're really hit or miss at that place. And I have a lot of confidence going into Waterford. We were really good there with the Granite State a couple years back. And we have a lot of, I feel like that track's closer to Seekonk, if anything, setup wise, and a lot of confidence going to the rest of the year. Just the only unknown is Oxford, really.
Of course, we're the official media partner for PASS, and we'll have all that action here for you on Racing America, as Ryan mentioned, including this weekend at Thompson, where the PASS Super Late Models and ACT Late Models will co-headline along with the Outlaw Open Modifieds on the Saturday portion of the World Series. As you go through these final races for the championship, I would expect the car counts are going to be big. There's a lot of opportunity there. If you have misfortune to lose points, I'm sure that's something you guys are keeping in the back of your mind right now.
Yeah, that's always the worry. Right now, hopefully Thompson doesn't have too many cars, but you already know Oxford's going to attract all the cars with all the weekly guys, and obviously now their weekly racing's over, and the big worry is, and all their weekly guys are extremely good. You know, you got Dave Farrington and Calvin Rose and all those guys, Curtis Gary. They'll all be strong at Oxford, but hopefully we can wrap up the North Championship there as well, the New England North Championship. We get some points over DJ, and hopefully we can maintain it. And you already know Waterford will bring in some cars. You know, Seaconk's weekly's done, Oxford's done. You'll get some Waterford guys who have some pro stocks, and yeah, we'll get some car counts.
For the people watching at home, Ryan is a great follow on social media, and I wanted to ask you to tell us a little bit more about your involvement in iRacing. You post about iRacing a lot and iRacing setups. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, our goal is to help guys get better on the sim. You know, bring some more competition. The competition level has been low for the past couple of years, and we're really trying to help guys, get better, trying to driver coach, get better setups. And, we do all the short track stuff, do some dirt racing stuff, some NASCAR stuff. And, our goal is to really help some guys get out there and get better and improve. Cause I know there's a lot of guys out there that love to do iRacing. They want to be really good in iRacing. And our goal is to help them get better and, try to achieve their goal of winning races.
So people can go to you for basically setups and coaching.
Yes, absolutely. Setups, coaching, and setup help. I actually was talking about it with my guys. I want to start a new setup program to basically teach guys how to build them on their own instead of buying them every weekend, week in, week out. But we haven't really got down to that yet. We want to start that during the winter to really help guys save money in the long run and help them get better, learn more, and just overall just help everyone.
Well, Ryan, I know it's been a heck of a year for you. Another KDDP graduate, and I tell you, you guys, you look at Ty Majeski winning the truck race recently at Bristol, and what the KDDP drivers are doing this year. You guys are just setting it on fire. Good luck this weekend, the rest of the season, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again here real soon.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, guys.
All right, that's Ryan Coon, the past super late model points leader, as they get ready for their final 3 races of the season, which you'll be able to see right here on Racing America. Speaking of watching on Racing America, we've got a lot of races coming up this weekend here. We'll preview those when we come back. Glad to have you back here with us on the Bullring this afternoon as we look forward to a great weekend.
Oh, you wanted me to say it?
No, I was trying not to say it. A great weekend of racing here on Racing America, and it will be big as we got a couple of multi-day shows this week. Friday through Sunday, we've talked about it a little bit. The 60th Annual World Series of Speedway Racing at Thompson Speedway in Connecticut. Friday, the featured event will be the MRS Modifieds. On Saturday, as we talked about with Ryan Coon, past super late models, act late models, and the Outlaw Open Modifieds. I think they're going for $10,000 to win. And then on Sunday, the NASCAR Wheeling Modified Tour along with Sunoco Mods and more. We'll have all the action for you here on Racing America, except for the Wheeling Modified Tour. They will be on flow, and 3 days of Tour Modified action at Thompson, counting the MRS Modifieds on Friday, the Sunoco Modifieds, they're running all 3 days, and the Tour Mods on Saturday and Sunday.
So if you're a modified fan, eat your heart out.
Or just a racing fan in general, the Super Modifieds are going to be there, and then they got the local divisions at Thompson. So there's going to be a lot of great action, and hope you can join us here on Racing America for that.
Woohoo!
Yeah, another multi-day show Friday and Saturday. Be the King of the Carolinas at Carolina Speedway on the dirt, the Blue Ridge Outlaw Late Models, Carolina Sprint Tour, SEHA Hornets, and more will be there at Carolina. Saturday, another thing that we mentioned, Pro Late Models at Nashville. They're going for 100 laps. Be the last time we'll get to see racing at Nashville before All-American 400 weekend.
Well, Nashville is always a good show, like I said earlier, so I'm excited for that one. I'm
And
excited for all of them, but
yeah,
that one especially.
yeah, and as of now, the Full Throttle 100 at Citrus County is scheduled for the super late models. I say as of now. We'll have to evaluate where they are with the storm damage from last week. I know I saw a aerial photo today from our friends at 417 Southern Speedway, and it took a hard hit. It's located down in Punta Gorda, and it was the eye went very close to the actual racetrack.
Wow.
So a lot of damage there, and a lot of folks struggling, and we hope the best for them. So with that, we'll take our final break, and we'll be back to wrap it up when we come back. I want to thank all of our guests today here on the Bullring, including Justin Bond, Senor, Caden Anderson, Dylan Fetcho, Ryan Coon, and Matt Weaver for joining us as he does weekly. Before we do go, we do want to mention that, and you'll be hearing more about this, but we're working on some different things to add to the Bullring for next year. But one thing that we'll be doing this year is in December, we'll have the short track honors, which we'll be telling the folks a little bit more about. It'll be sort of a supplement to the old short track draft. We'll still recognize our top prospects, but we're going to broaden it out a little bit, and that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've been talking about that, and I'm really excited for it. It'll be a little different than what we've done in the past, but I think the folks at home are going to love it. I'm very excited.
I do too. And as I said, we'll tell you more about that here in the weeks to come. So be sure to watch Racing America this weekend. We'll have all the wrap up from Thompson from the World Series, and look forward to another big weekend of action coming up next week. For Jess Ballard, I'm Alan Dietz saying so long, and we'll see you next week here on the Bullring.